Africa is the bigger community of one with one trouble, because I can assure you every week there is something strange happening in Africa.
You drew people from different culture, different language, different nationality, different everything, and you brought them into Nigeria. So that is why you see conflicts upon fighting, because it's just like when you bring two opposing substances and you put it in one place, you continue to get reactions.
You remember that it is on record that Ukraine used their drone to bomb those who were fighting terrorists in Burkina Faso. It's a fact.
The same Ukraine that Russia is invading.
Exactly. And their Minister of Foreign Affairs even said it. And Africa protested. Africa is fighting a war of independence. Most states there, especially some of these states that have said, no. As far as we are concerned, we are tired of your post-colonial control of our lands.
Good evening and welcome to Glasscast podcast. Last week or last 2 weeks, we've been discussing developments within Nigeria, and we came up with the acronym of 1 week, 1 trouble. This week, we have been monitoring activities within Africa. Cameroon, Tanzania, Sudan, all over. And it will interest us to be here this evening to do some level of analysis. So on this note, we want to say once again, thank you for being with us. And remember, we have thousands of viewers on our usual elder in the house. Elder, it's good to have you. And the Mazi himself.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dr.
Good evening, viewers.
Thank you. We're here. We're happy to be here to provide insight and analysis, put out our wealth of experience and knowledge to our viewers.
Elder, how would you want to encourage our viewers? Because we've had thousands of viewers, but just tiny percentage are subscribing to our page. How important is it?
What I would tell our viewers, please subscribe, like, share, comment, engage with us. And it's only when you engage with us that you bring out the much more details and analysis of what we are discussing on this episode. 1 hour won't be enough to do justice to any particular topic. But when you engage with us, when you subscribe, you like, you share, comment, if you have anything that you want to ask, or if you even have any topic you want us to discuss here, put it out there. We'll be happy to take on board and deal with it. Get experts who know better in that area that you may want to know more about, and give you the best of the facts and the best of the information that's required. So engage, like, share, and comment, and engage with us, and I can assure you will not regret doing that. Thank you so much, Dr. Eze.
Thank you. And I believe Mazu.
And once again, Glasscast Podcast. We are on Facebook, we are on TikTok, we are on Instagram, and we are on YouTube. So make no mistake about the name, Glasscast Podcast.
Exactly. And it's not out of place for our viewers, just as Elder said, to suggest topics for us to discuss. In fact, we encourage it. Suggest those topics and we will do justice to it.
And you also have the choice to join us in this, our beautiful studio. Come and take a seat and help us also to provide insights to some emerging issues and analysis that will be running in weeks to come. So let's look at an interesting thing that has been happening this week. Is Africa also 1 week, 1 trouble?
Well, I would say Africa is a bigger Nigeria. So describing it as 1 week, 1 trouble is not out of place, because it's either you're hearing there is war, there is conflict, there is coup d'etat, there is a president who lost the election and has refused to go. There are people who are saying that we need to elect younger leaders. There are politicians who are contesting election in diaspora who are not even back home in Africa. So Africa is the bigger community of 1 week, 1 trouble, because I can assure you every week there is something strange happening in Africa, in one of the African countries. politically, economically, and security-wise. Same that is happening in Nigeria is happening all over Africa. So you are right to to use that name as Africa 1 week 1 trouble as well.
1 week 1 trouble. And when you look at all this, it's as a result or as an effect of a historical development. So today we want to look at Africa from the post-colonial lens. So we want to know, what is post-colonialism? We don't want to go too theoretical, because most analysis of post-colonialism, emanating from the works of Edward Said and Barber and Spivak, and coming to this point, it's been quite theoretical, even though it's been applied across various fields. Then we want to look at post-colonialism and its effect in African political, social, economic, and cultural institutions. Like we made mention of the case of Cameroon, for somebody who has been president since some of us were still in maybe our parents may not have got married, think of giving birth to us, and he's still there, won an election, and is going to do a tenure that will take him to almost 99 or 100 years old, still in office. So it tells you the effect of the colonial institutions that were inherited from these countries or institutions. So that is, we want to use post-colonial lens to have not theoretical analysis, but practical analysis of what has been happening within the African context. I don't know, Mazi, do you want to?
Yes, of course. And my position.
Oh, yes, no.
As far as I am concerned, Africa, you are referring to it as 1 week 1 trouble. We are referring to it as 1 week 1 trouble. You are not far from the truth, but the fact remains that Africa has been under siege for more than 3,000 years.
That is quite historical.
Yes, Africa has been under siege from the time the Western Asians invaded Africa, to the Greek invasion, the Roman invasion, the French, Portuguese, British, and the Spanish. Africa has been a continent that people want something from it, but they don't want to pay for it. That's the fact of the matter there. So for us to talk of post-colonialism is an indirect way of saying that colonialism still continued, but in a different fashion. So these troubles that are happening in Africa that makes us to refer to it as 1 week 1 trouble. Africa, yes, doesn't help some of the leaders, but it is not entirely caused by Africans. Those issues we are caused by some of these Western colonial powers, and let us remember that it is a fact that the elites in Africa are saboteurs. That one is a fact, because if you look at our history, they are stooges of the colonial masters. If you look at historically, those elites who were in Africa during the time of the colonial masters collaborated with the colonial masters. Otherwise, they wouldn't be elites, they wouldn't be rich. And it continued even up to today. That's why in Africa, some countries like Burkina Faso are very, very popular with African youths. But if you go outside Africa and go to the West, they are very, very unpopular with the West. I can tell you categorically clear that Burkina Faso is fighting a war of independence. They're saying, terrorism, the terrorism that you remember that it is on record that Ukraine used their drone to bomb those who were fighting terrorists in Burkina Faso. It's a fact.
The same Ukraine that Russia is invading.
Exactly. And their Minister of Foreign Affairs even said it. And Africa protested. So Africa is fighting a war of independence. Yeah. Most states there, especially some of these states that have said, no. As far as we are concerned, we are tired of your post-colonial control of our lands.
Mazi, if you want to put something in context before Elder takes the position and to speak, I think some people may ask, what is post-colonialism? When we are using this term, what does it imply?
Well, before we get to post-colonialism, I just want to take us a bit of to memory lane down the history in terms of this colonialism, how it started. But along the line, my view, I just want to establish this colonialism, and further down the line, we'll discuss if that is still the case. Should we still continue to blame the colonial masters? Okay. You will know colonialism, how it started. It started with exploration. They came to our country, we were taking them around, showing them beautiful places, showing them beautiful stones that turned to minerals, beautiful landscape, rivers of which some of them Mongo Park discovered. But that's not the topic for today. So that exploration, we thought they were harmless. They came in, we showed them around. Then from exploration to the Christian faith they brought to us. It was Desmond Tutu who said the missionaries, they came, they said, close their eyes, let us pray. By the time we finished praying, they had our land and we have their Bible. So that was then from the missionaries to the militarization of the place, taking the ones that couldn't conform to the Christian religion by force, compelling them to accept what they are offering us. And also, after that, then the companies, the industry started coming, of which Nigeria is established as a business, the Royal Niger Company.
It is, yeah.
So that's the issue of colonialism. But when you talk about post-colonialism, it is now a term that is used to, denote or to signify still the domination of the former colonial masters on their former colonies. That is continued subjugation of the former colonies, both economically, politically, socially, and culturally, after they had left. The so-called independence have been granted to the former colonies. Then they are still exerting that influence, that control over the former colonies. So that's for the sake of our viewers, that's the issue of post-colonialism. But should we continue to blame them is where I would put my views with some basic analysis and examples on that.
Yeah, Elder, before we want to think of who to blame or who not to blame, it's good that you have taken us memory lane. And to some extent, I'm also a student of politics, administration, and have done a level of research in the area of post-colonialism, and it's good that you have taken us memory lane in that area. And for Mazi, who has because I was even thinking maybe colonialism was maybe about between 300 and 500 years old, but I'm learning tonight that it's over 3,000 years old, because when you are talking about the colonialism started in the late 19th century, and before that was, when we are talking about the Bismarck Berlin Conference of 1884-1885, but before then, Africa, I'm trying to relate to what Mazi said, Africa has been a product of subjugation. Remember slave trade. Individuals were traded as commodities, and businesses were there to exploit Africa. Although even before that time, it wasn't called colonialism. The term colonialism became popular after the Berlin Conference of 1884, 1885. But before the Berlin Conference, again, if you look at the book of history, the idea of Berlin Conference came as a result of conflicts that were happening within Africa. Even these United States were involved, even Russia, even Ukraine, even Germany. These guys, because when we talk about
that conference was actually held to resolve their territorial conflicts by European territorial conflicts.
Exactly.
So they just had that conference to split Africa among themselves to settle their conflicts.
Yeah, already they were already splitting Africa, because the US because when we talk about European colonialism, you don't see the hand of the US. But remember, the US was deeply into the economic, political, cultural, and social activities in Liberia.
The US was there.
Yeah, even Italy. Italy was in Ethiopia. Italy was in Ethiopia, US was there. But when
and even Libya,
yeah,
it was in Libya.
Yeah. Then the Berlin Conference came and kind of sidelined a lot of them, like the US, like countries like Norway, countries like Denmark, so Sweden, Norway. It was Sweden, Norway. Then even Austria, Hungary. They were all part of this process, exploiting various aspects of Africa. But when this Berlin Conference happened, it provides a kind of structural organization of the exploitation or imperialism, which kind of gave it that connotation of colonialism, where the major European powers, the British, the French, the Spanish, the Portuguese, and the German as well. These were the top 5 or 6 European countries that colonized Africa, and they began to reshape Africa according to their economic needs, according to their economic exploitations. Because one thing, which is a context I want to bring in here, is should we continue to blame them? Because one thing the Berlin Conference did is to restructure, to redraw the map of Africa without due attention to cultural differences. I will give you a specific example is Nigeria. You drew people from different culture, different language, different nationality, different everything, and you brought them into Nigeria. So that is why you see conflicts upon fighting, because it's just like when you bring two opposing substances and you put it in one place, you continue to get reactions. So I want to point out this before we go into the analysis of who to blame or who not.
Well, first of all, your analysis is perfect in order. I can't fault that. But my worry is that for how long are we going to blame these people that have left? Yeah, it takes a lot of time and a lot of reorientation. Part of the things they did is to, inject Western mentality, Western culture. And it's difficult to pull out a culture from somebody, what somebody has absorbed and, assimilated. I think it was the French system of colonial administration.
Policy of assimilation,
Policy of assimilation. So when you assimilate that culture, it's difficult to, start going back to your original culture. But my worry is that we have been on this for too long, on this blame game. I don't think I am more intelligent than all the elites that ruled Nigeria. I don't think I respect your intelligence, your erudition, especially. I said it the other day, what you do in this podcast is, I can't do it.
Thank you.
But with every sense of respect, I do not think that you are more intelligent than all the elites that ruled Nigeria after independence. Same as Mars. Now, I don't want to believe that they don't know that there is still subjugation, there is still control, there is still domination of the former colonial masters on these African countries, be it Nigeria, be it Ivory Coast, Cameroon, Tanzania, wherever, Ethiopia, Kenya. They know, they are aware of these things happening. What are we doing? How do we get out of it? At least on the face of it, Nigeria gained independence 1960. Is that not correct? That's 65 years now.
Yeah.
For 65 years, if Nigeria were to be a civil servant, we would have retired after 65 years. It's not enough to retire.
Under Nigerian law.
Even here in the UK, people retire as early as 55. In fact, if you are playing in Premier League, once you are 30, nobody gives you more than 1 year contract. If you are playing in English Premier League, once you club, because they know that at that time you're already getting old. So at 65, we are still blaming somebody who has done the damage. And keep in mind, this colonialism, post-colonialism is all about exerting control, what they get from you. I will also let you know that in international politics, in foreign policy, it's all about the selfish interests of the country that you are dealing with. In fact, they said in international politics, diplomacy is defined as telling somebody, a way of telling somebody you can go to hell, and the person is actually looking forward to going to that hell. Mm-hmm. So when Nigeria is dealing with Britain is not dealing with you to protect your interests. They are dealing with you for their own selfish interests. So you should be ready. You should stand up to it. You should do things that will favor your citizens. You should do things that will protect the interests of your citizens. Then where you fail to do that, who are you going to blame? Let me give you another example. I say I'm going to give basic analysis.
Okay.
When we are
But what I will do today is to give you context.
Okay.
I'm
happy. I'm ready for you. Give me that context and let's take it on.
So now, I know Mazu would want to say something, but let me also create a context based on what Elder is saying here. You know, when you look at, I've made mention of the way African map was drawn with irregular cultural and religious and language.
Okay, so let's take it bit by bit.
Yeah.
You have mentioned the irregular maps that we are drawn.
Yeah.
Nigeria was joined. We have over 350 or close to 205 ethnic nationalities in Nigeria. Is that correct? We have the north, the south, divided along ethnic and all kinds of ethnic and religious lines, pluralization.
Yeah.
They drew this map 1914. Right? That was when the southern and northern protectorates were merged to become Nigeria. Now, Britain recently walked away from Europe. In the map of the world, Britain is in Europe. Is that not correct? But they felt that this union is no more conducive for all our interests. It's better. Some people supported it, some kicked against it. But at the end of the day, they gave people opportunity to decide, do we want us to be part of this union? What stops our elites doing a similar thing?
Now I want to create another contest again.
Good, that's the contest. For every contest you create, I deal with it.
Argumentative, too much argumentative.
I can actually answer him.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Understand?
Okay.
So if you look at Nigeria, you will see.
Remember, we are going beyond Nigeria, Africa, Cameroon.
Yeah.
But you can use Nigeria as an example.
Yeah, definitely. His question is that why can't Nigeria do what UK has done in relation especially when they gave the opportunity for Scotland to vote and
even Scotland and Brexit.
Yeah. Do you know that the former High Commission of the UK to Nigeria was on a campaign journey tour across Nigeria and telling them the aim was why there is unity in diversity and why they should stay together. And she was doing this campaigning tour at the same time that Britain was planning Brexit.
Yeah.
You understand? Now, if you look at, let me start from the angle of what you said about artificially drawn maps. Now, the scramble for and partition of Africa happened, as we have established, not in the interest of Africans. It happened in the interest of the colonial masters. The result was that there is no organic state in Africa. Now, if you look at colonialism and the benefits of colonialism, and then you look at those maps that we are drawn for control, domination, economic influence, for the purpose of commerce, you will see that even when they were living, they made sure that they set up a structure that will still benefit them post-colonization, which is post-colonialism.
Post-colonialism, correct.
And that structure is still effective and in existence today. It is still there. Let me give you a perfect example, because I want to answer our barrister's question. A perfect example is the Pact for the Continuation of Colonization that exists in Francophone countries.
Yeah,
That's pact. I was telling you guys the other day that when France was leaving, they made sure that the Francophone countries, the colonial states that they established, that was given to them basically in Berlin, they made sure that they set up a structure that will keep those states in perpetual servitude to France. Their monies from their central bank, their revenue basically, will be paid into the Central Bank of France. This particular system has been criticized severally. They made sure that France will have the right of first refusal when it comes to buying their natural resources, the natural resources of those states. In fact, it was so ridiculous that the former president, Laurent Gbagbo, I was giving this instance the other day. The former president during his tenure, they wanted to build a bridge in Ivory Coast. They wanted to build a bridge. They went to their colonial masters, France. France gave them a quotation that was so ridiculous. They then went to China. China not only gave them half the price, or even less than half the price that France had already charged them to build that bridge, but told them, you have your cocoa, we need your cocoa, and we know that you are short of cash. So don't bother about paying us with cash. We'll build the bridge for you. You give us cocoa, and at half the price that France charged. Do you know that because of the colonial pact, France vetoed that? France refused because Ivory Coast could not sell that and to use it to pay for the bridge because France has a right.
What you're saying was in the last decade or 2 decades or so.
Lauren Gbagbo hasn't been up to 10 years that
so
he left.
It's happened
See, I'm trying to answer the question in terms of why can't Nigeria come together and divide. There is one brilliant young journalist, we all know him, David Hundeyin.
Yeah.
This guy has been doing investigative journalism for quite some time, and it is on record that this guy discovered through court documents in the US that the president of Nigeria is an active CIA agent.
Mazi,
I'm trying to answer this question, so let me land so that you would. So now everybody knows, at least every thinking person, that those that rule Western nations are their intelligence agencies. Now, if the president of Nigeria is an active CIA agent, do you think that this president will be able to take an action that is against the interest of America? No. As a president, he is supposed to be taking actions, making decisions that is in the national interest of Nigeria. Now, as an active agent of the CIA, when there is an action that he's supposed to take that is supposed to be in the national interest of Nigeria, but it conflicts with the interests of the US, what do you think that he's going to do? Let me then land, because I'm trying to draw the connection. When those states are created, artificially created, for the benefit of the imperialists, of which America is among. You understand? And they know that to keep those states the way they are is in their own economic interest. And then the head, the ruler, the president of that state is their active agent and their active asset. How do you want them to agree to divide that state?
All right,
okay. Let me
I want to add to what.
If you protest, you get dealt with, just as it happened last week. You can't protest, you can't do anything.
Yeah. So to give a context here, when you talk about the Nigerian president being CIA agent, it has been historical. Even when President Obasanjo was the president of Nigeria, it was also, there was a report by Newswatch is out there that President Obasanjo was also a CIA mole. He was addressed as a CIA mole. But I want us to look at this colonial masters, like you made mention of French West African countries. So I want us to take it from that point, and I want to give us like a bit of details about how French colonial or post-colonial Africa looks like. So France, I will read from here. France colonized Senegal, Mali, Burkina Faso, Mauritania, Equatorial Guinea, Gabon, Republic of Congo, Chad, Central African Republic,
Benin Republic,
Djibouti, Cote d'Ivoire, Benin Republic, Niger, Tunisia, Algeria, Morocco, and Libya. These were former French colonies, according to the Bismarck-Berlin Conference of the period we are talking about. And when you talk about economic, I would want Elder to react to this as this position, not an assumption. Almost, apart from the Tunisia, the Algeria, the Morocco, and Libya, we know the role France played in the Algiers War. Yeah. Let's put that aside. But apart from this, in the West African region, there are about 14, 15 countries who were former French colonies, but till today are economically tied to French economic policies via the CFA. Because you are asking who to blame. Now, in this case, all these countries have their banks. In fact, there is a group of 8 that have, a kind of a central reserve, right? And there is the group of 6 or 7 that have a different central reserve, but all of them operate on the CFA. Now, in this case, the CFA is a kind of monetary activity developed by the French since 1945. And these countries have continued to use this monetary system up to today. And the CFA is benchmarked in France, not in Africa. These two Central Reserve bodies that were established in Africa, when they are taking monetary policies, till today, France have the only power that can veto the decision of these 15 countries. France can come out and veto what they are doing. That is one. I want to give another insight. Two, let us look at it from this side again. As at 2015, these West African countries came together to do away with the CFA and introduce one country, one currency across the French and English former colonial territories. This is 10 years, and they've not been able to achieve this.
Is it the ECO?
Yeah.
I think so.
So when you are doing this analysis, who do you think should be blamed in this case?
Let me take it. I said it from the beginning, and I'm going to stick with it. I'm going to do basic analysis. You mentioned, let me start with what you mentioned. You mentioned the former, I don't know if you...
Laurent Gbagbo.
Not Laurent Gbagbo. UK High Commissioner to Nigeria, when he had a tour of why Nigeria should be united, there's a unity in diversity, while at the same time Britain was going through the process of Brexit. Yes. Did any of our people ask her, but you people are going through Brexit in Britain? Did anybody ask her that question?
I think that question.
Did anybody ask her that question?
We don't know because we are not there.
If somebody had asked her, we would have heard about it.
No reasonable person.
No reasonable person. No elite. No political elite. No political office holder asked her that question. Have you asked yourself why? I don't know if I've said it before. When we were doing basic social studies, they told us family is the smallest unit of society.
Socialization, yes.
Socialization, or smallest unit of society. From society you get, from family you move on. Let me draw the basic analysis that I've been saying. If I come to your house now, colonize you, conquer you, your kids grew up, maybe by then would have died and fought against my family, ruling over your family, and succeeded and drove us away, and set up a structure whereby we'll still be exerting that influence. And your grandkids know that this is exactly what has happened, and they maintain that system. Who do you blame?
But the system is maintained
no
through force of arms.
No, through force of arms. Yes, but let me tell you. Now, force of arms you are talking about. America is no more bombing Nigeria now. Britain is no more bombing Nigeria now to maintain that system. It's all the selfish interest of our people, of what they are going to get, that they are using to maintain that system. That force of arm you talked about was in the colonial era. Like, I mentioned colonialism, how it started. It started with exploration, religion, the force of arm, and the companies. So that force of arm is no more is no longer being used to maintain that structure now. So no, I won't agree with you on that. So if that system is being maintained, we are the one now fueling it, feeding it, maintaining that system, nurturing it, making it to continue.
Okay, let me ask you one question.
Ask me.
The question: what is the policy that Britain used to govern their colonial
there is a system of indirect rule. That's what you're asking me.
That's what I'm asking you.
Good. That indirect rule.
Yes.
They are using you.
Yes.
So why do you want to sabotage your people?
Exactly, because that indirectly, as far as I'm concerned, is still in operation. Most of African states.
It's still in operation.
Most of African states.
That's why we are talking about neocolonialism.
Yes.
Right? It's still in operation.
Neocolonialism is simply indirect.
Indirect.
Exactly.
So why do you still? I'll give you an analysis. I ask you a question. Why do your grandchildren, knowing that this is what is happening, it is not in our interest, it's not in our benefit, why are they still allowing it?
Because the rulers, the heads of those post-colonial states like Nigeria are still the elites, those collaborators. You understand? And those collaborators are still they are signing defense pacts with France. It's on record. And you saw that during we call it Lekki massacre, that people went and protested against police brutality. What came out of it? Nothing. Ordinary peaceful protest.
Who massacred them? Is it not our people?
the elites, the government, those who are representing the interests of the colonial masters.
Yes, they are representing their interests. So why will you fight? Okay, as we are now, if I come and tell you, let me use example, embezzlement of fund. More than the money politicians embezzle in Nigeria, they bring it to banks in the West. Is that not correct?
Yeah, that's fine.
Good. I also come to the basic analysis I mentioned before now. You have a family, I have a family. If I come to you, Ike, you know what? Don't give your family food. Don't pay their electricity bill. Winter is coming. Do not send them to school. Do not maintain your car. Bring that money, let me be keeping for you. When you retire, I will come and give it to you. Will you agree? That's exactly what's happening. Will you agree? Because I said I'm going to stay with family as the smallest unit of research. That is what our politicians are doing, and they want to blame the West. When this money comes into the West, they give it out to their businesses as small and medium scale loans to businesses. Use it to, build infrastructure. Use it to develop their society. And keep in mind, you know why I admire the West? America, Britain, Germany, France, all these colonial masters. You know why I admire them? When they go and steal the resources they are stealing from Africa, no single politician will pocket it. It's for their common masses. Oh yeah. When America go and destroy Libya, and put their oil companies there to be drilling oil, it's for them to make gas prices lower in America for the ordinary common man. When they go to Ukraine to sign rare earth mineral resources, it's for them to get those resources to go and manufacture chips, manufacture electric cars, electric vehicles that will be cheaper for their people. They are thinking about our people. We are thinking about our selfish interests.
Well,
when I tell you, don't take care of your family. Bring it to me. Let me keep it for you. Don't forget about those your useless wife and children. Sorry, I have to use that one. I don't mean that, but just that's what they're telling you. And you want to go back and still blame those people.
All right. If you have been following this conversation, you would agree with us that this is a very, very interesting conversation that is going on here. And I would encourage you to also give us your view. What do you think about this subject of discussion? What is your perception about colonialism and post-colonialism, using Africa here as the lens of discussion for today? I would encourage you to sit right back because we have
Dr. Please let me make this point.
Yeah.
Growing up in Imo State, the best governor we've ever had was former Governor Mbakwe, Sam Mbakwe. The popular roads we have in Urupti now, we are the ones he constructed. The Wedra Road, the Douglas Road, the Tetlo Road, the Olu Road. We are talking of he was governor from 1970 when we had was it 79? Yeah, up until the Buhari military coup of 1984, right? He was the best governor we've had. What stops the previous governors from building on what he started or the foundation he led? They're investing the money. They get the allocation. They get the resources. And you want to continue to blame the West. That's just an example of infrastructure. I know I'll come to other words.
You can see that we are still there. Make sure you still have your popcorn and your water available because this discussion is getting interesting. Even though some of the things Elder is saying here, we have valid ground to argue against them, because when you're talking about post-colonialism, again, I want to give us a bit of context here. When you're talking about post-colonialism, remember, most theorization, let's not go too deep into theory, derive from Marxist conception of the society and other ideas of maybe Orientalism or feminism and all that. They all come together where those theories were drawn from. And if you look at the Marxist conception of colonialism, Marxist conception of colonialism recognizes two agents: the metropoles, who are the West, and the peripheral. So the Marxist analysis refers to them as the bourgeois. So we have the bourgeois at the metropole, and we have the bourgeois at the periphery. And the bourgeois at the periphery, like Marx was referring to here, they are the stooges, they are the agents of the metropoles. So they don't represent the interest of their people, they represent the interest of the colonial, they represent colonial interest. Because when you are saying that why is it that they wouldn't do this, there are some activities that happen behind that, they cover it up with diplomacy. We know some in Africa, we know countries that stood against colonialism. We know leaders that stood against colonialism, going from Egypt to West Africa, and we know how those leaders were treated and they were handled. So, but in this case, let us look at it. You are looking at it from the beneath. Let us look at it from the above. I've talked about the economic entanglement within the French West African countries, and you seem to kind of deviate from the fact that there is still external forces. Why is it that these countries cannot liberate themselves from this particular economic threat?
To answer that question, so that you can answer it also.
Okay, go ahead.
Why do you think, or rather, let me ask it this way: which African leader do you know that has stood up against colonialism and survived it?
Okay, I may not have the facts now. I'll come back to you on that, but I'm going to come back to your question on that. Dr. Eze, the issue of external influence, no question about that. That's why you're talking about neocolonialism. I recognize that and acknowledge that. But let me tell you something. The core of American foreign policy, you know what it is? National interest. You know whose national interest? America's national interest.
Well,
do you know
that in diplomacy, it's just like I will come in there because in diplomacy you always think that is in the national interest, is in the interest of the citizens. But when you look at it mainly, it's in the interest of the ruling class, the people that control the wherewithal of the society. They're only giving to the masses what is left.
No, the interest. No, not for the West. If you're a corrupt politician here, you won't last long. Truth be told.
And you are discovered. If you're a corrupt politician and you are discovered.
Obviously, they discovered them. They are not true. I'm not saying they are not corrupt, but not as corrupt as the African politicians who are serving the interests of the colonial masters. Okay, I would back my point. What I told also. The core principle of British foreign policy is Greater Britain to exert influence around the world. Google it and confirm what I'm telling you.
I'm aware.
In 2017, after Trump won his first term, I think the election was November 2016. Rex Tillerson, his first Secretary of State, the man that used to be head of ExxonMobil, he tapped him to be his. When he was undergoing his Senate confirmation hearing, they asked him, "What are you going to project about American foreign policy?" You know what he said? That he stands by the core principle of American foreign policy, which is American interest first. And you do not want to tell me that I'm the only person who had that Senate confirmation hearing of him, of what he said, and how to, implement it. So whenever you are dealing with them, they don't have your interest at heart. Britain, France, America, this is international politics. And
Nigerian leaders don't have their interest at heart.
And that is normal. So who do you blame?
Ask you.
Wait, let me finish.
Sorry, I want to interrupt you
here. Ask me
because
a question.
If American leader has American interest at heart, if the British leader has British interest at heart, I want you to have in mind the map, that irregular map of Africa that integrated Nigeria across this thing. Whose interest do you think Nigerian leader will be represented?
You should, at the minimum, represent the interest of his ethnic group. During Buhari's regime.
Which is what we are seeing in Africa today. That's why Paul Biya will still win president even after 100 years. Let me give you the interest of his ethnic group.
Let me give you a practical example. At the minimum, if a Nigerian president should not represent the interests of Nigeria as an artificial entity, as an irregular map abroad, he should at the minimum represent the interests of his ethnic group. When Buhari was the president, the Hausa has recorded the highest level of poverty, unemployment, education, low quality, highest number of out-of-school children. He died here in London. He couldn't build a hospital in the north.
Remember that Buhari is a Fulani man. And remember that the British favored the Fulanis when they were ruling Nigeria. And the reason being that they were the easiest people to control.
Good. So after he became the president, at the minimum, I agree, Nigeria is an irregular map. Why didn't he favor, even if the map had been drawn, Biafra, Oduduwa, and Arewa? The Fulani man should have followed the...
Buhari built a railway line that cut across...
we are talking of seriousness. We are talking of railway line that has no purpose. What purpose is that railway line?
Development.
What purpose is that railway line? Let me come to the question you asked me.
When he was building that railway, remember, people were asking, why is it that this railway is going into another country?
Forget Buhari is a dead man and did not achieve anything.
Even realistically, he's dead.
He's dead, obviously. It's a fact. So I mean, somebody said that how you died does not redeem how you lived. So he had a very bad government. He performed poorly. So that he's dead. I can't come here and eulogize him because he's dead. I don't do that. You said something. I'm coming to the question you asked about do I know any African leader that stood up to the colonial masters and survived? I would advise our viewers, encourage them. Please follow me in this journey. Go and read President Obama's book, Audacity of Hope. Go and read George Bush's book, Decision Points. The major decisions he made in his 8 years in office. And these are former presidents who outrightly accepted that any government that does not align with US foreign policy, they go as far as changing them. And how do they change them? They use people in their country. So it's still us fighting ourselves, fighting against our interests. I'm not making this up. Go and read it, Audacity of Hope. Go and read Decision Points by George Bush.
Are you taking into account political and diplomatic influence in terms of foreign aid that they because they have instruments? we talked about military power. What about foreign aid? Because the people that they will use to remove that government are the people that are benefiting from those foreign aid.
Exactly.
Good. Those foreign aids, they don't use it to do anything meaningful to their countries. In this country,
no, the foreign aids are not meant to be used to do anything meaningful.
You mentioned this foreign aid,
but just to influence people.
I know all of you. There is no month you don't receive letter from the banks asking you to come and take credit cards. True or false?
True.
Do you take them?
No.
What are we talking about? That's the same thing as foreign aid. They are luring you to come and collect this money. They know that you are going to embezzle.
No, there is foreign aid, there is foreign loan.
Both foreign aid and foreign loan. Because you receive letters from your banks also to come and take loan. Yeah. When you assess yourself, I don't need this loan, I don't need this credit card, so I'm not going to go for it. That's a sensible decision to make. In Africa, no African country requires a loan or foreign aid to develop with the amount of resources we have.
Let me tell you, I think the facts there are clear. And the fact is that there is no African country that has any organic government that is an African government. All of them are using imitation European types of government. And when even your own Bible, the Christian Bible,
Christianity
says that it's a major factor. Let's not even go there because it's a very big canker.
It's a topic for another day. But you will continue. But remember, Christianity and Islam are also products of.
I'm going to respond to this Christianity you mentioned briefly.
Yeah. What I am trying to say is that when I think somewhere in this is Psalms that is said that the Israelites were held as captives somewhere, and they were saying that they were told to sing a song to the Lord, and they were saying, how can we sing the Lord's song in a strange land? So at the end of the day, there is absolutely no way that our African governments will be able to work in the interest of the masses when they are using imitation European types of government. They don't even fit in. They don't even fit in. If you go to our society, the Igbo society in Southeast, the type of government that the Igbos ran, the type of society, in fact, that we had, is remained the best up till this moment. When you look at it from any angle that you want, even in terms of the development or the building of wealth, it's clear that our system of Eba Boy is the best system that creates millionaires in any society that you go today.
Mazi, let me take you on this Eba Boy. I totally agree with you.
Well,
but
I hope we are not deviating from
we are not
the main topic.
deviating. I'm just linking it up to what you are saying. That system is a very good system, of which I almost went that way.
Who knows? You might have been better.
No, I'm happy where I am. I'm happy.
You're happy, but you don't know if you would have been better.
No. I'm happy. Now, that Igbo boy you are talking about, we are complaining. We see a lot of our Igbo brothers who live in Lagos who complain about destruction of their property, forceful
demolition
and seizure of their property and things like that. That's another discussion for another day. Whether they are doing it legally or illegally, I do not have the full facts, so I won't say anything about that. But if in Imo State we have the infrastructure, we have the facilities, do you think a lot of the Igbos will troop to Lagos?
No.
They will not.
No.
What stops our governors? No matter how Igbos are hated, no matter how marginalized we are, Enugu State, Imo State, Abia State, Ebonyi, which is the other one again, Anambra, the 5 eastern states, they receive their monthly allocation from the federal government. What do they do with it? Do we have to blame the colonial masters for the misappropriation of? I agree with you. Nigeria is artificial entity carved out in Berlin, but these 5 states, they still receive their allocation monthly. What stops them from the federal government? Whether government from Abuja, whether federal government, I make the premise statement that no matter how they are hated, no matter how they are marginalized,
are they supposed to receive that money from the center?
Whether they are supposed or they are not supposed, but they receive it.
Can you see the influence of colonialism?
No. That influence, I'm taking it home. That influence is there, yes, that they get the money from the center, but at the end of the day, they get it, no matter how small it is.
Ed, I want to take you by your word.
Okay,
you made mention of Obama and his book, and I want to take specific example on Obama. So, from what you said, any country, any government that does not align with American interest, they will do anything to the point of removing that leader.
Absolutely.
And we saw in Nigeria as a post-colonial state what Obama did in 2015.
But don't get me wrong. You are cutting and not pasting the whole thing. You're not cutting the whole all of my statement.
I'm taking you from your example.
Yeah, no, but you didn't finish what I said.
In the interest of America, you saw the Obama's Secretary of State was in Nigeria a few days to Nigerian election.
Yeah. That's the same thing that they do.
Good. Yeah. Who did he visit?
A Fulani man. The opposition. A Fulani man that they can easily control.
Yeah. Let me finish.
In order that they will continue the colonial
working government.
To remove a working government, in order that they will continue the colonial control, imperialistic control of Nigeria.
Wait, let me ask you guys are asking me a question.
Obama opened his mouth. Remember, Obama opened his mouth and said, and I quote, that Nigeria should be won is a fight, should be won as in ONE, is a fight that must be won.
Won. Good.
You understand? He said it, knowing that Nigeria is an artificial creation, that is not an organic state, as an artificial creation, is a very, very volatile country that is not in the interest of the various ethnic groups in Nigeria, but he wants, in the interest of the American national interest, for that volatile state to remain as one.
And they will do anything to keep it as one.
I agree with
including removing the leader.
I agree with you. Who do they use?
The elites.
You guys have been asking me questions. Who did they use?
The saboteurs, the elites.
So who do we blame?
Well, who do we blame? The people.
Who do we blame?
The people are impoverished. Remember, the essence
who impoverished them?
The colonialism impoverished them because colonialism never.
I won't agree with that. We have
history.
Impoverished
colonialism.
At what?
I will tell you this. Colonialism never established any cottage industry
at all.
They never established any means of production. There is no even finished goods.
Yes.
We are not produced
Yes.
in those countries.
Yes.
What colonialism did was to build roads to where they will extract raw materials
Exactly.
and go and refine it and sell to us.
Exactly.
When you are doing that, you are impoverishing that society. And after doing that, you now empower the people I call the peripheral bourgeois.
Just
who would
in order to enable their system
to continue.
To continue.
Another example I will give you is in Nigeria. I know we are cutting across Africa, and we want to see your comment because this is an interesting episode, and we would run it, for weeks so that people will begin to.
We've not even touched about the political.
Understanding.
Not even touched the political
so
aspect.
I want to give you a specific example. In 2023, in the run-up to Nigerian election, let's look at Nigeria in 2023 because Nigeria is going into polls, I think next year or next 2 years.
2027.
The election was happening in Nigeria, but all the top political contenders, including the current president, our dear President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, they all came to number 10 Downing Street. If you know where number 10 Downing Street is, you know what we are talking about here. They all came to number 10 Downing Street to pay allegiance to the Prime Minister. It was Boris Johnson that was there then. I'm talking of in the person of Peter Obi, Atiku Abubakar, Rabiu Kwakwanso, Bola Ahmed Tinubu. All these are the 4 contenders of that election, and all of them went to pay homage to the UK Prime Minister in the UK. And they went, after going to the UK Prime Minister, get approval, they went to Chatham House to go and address the British public what their plan, because they don't have manifesto, what their plans for Nigeria was. That was what they did. At the end, the umpire, the Nigerian umpire, the INEC chairman, Professor Yakubu, did the same thing. He came to the UK to tell the UK public what his plan for election in Nigeria is.
I remember that plan must be in accord with the interests of the colonial masters.
A process to elect a leader for Nigeria.
Yeah.
So you begin to appreciate when you look at this. I don't want you to discount all this because they have a lot of influence on how the political system works.
Let me ask you, 2 of you. You guys have been asking me. It's now my turn to ask you guys question. Have you heard of Bata shoe industry?
Yeah. Yeah. It was a very popular shoe industry about when we were growing up.
That was around 1976-79 period. Have you heard of Abate Saimi?
Yes.
Have you heard of Adapam?
Yes.
Have you heard of Standard Shoe Company?
Yeah, I have.
These were things that were there shortly after independence. What has happened to them now?
They are all gone.
They are all gone.
Yeah.
But they were there when we had better governors. That was during Mbakweta.
This is about better governor or better infrastructure.
Let me finish. I haven't finished.
Yeah, but you have. I want you to include Ajokuta. I want you to include Ajokuta in this your number.
Allow me to.
So that we can do thorough analysis.
Allow me to finish. I've mentioned these things, and this has happened under Mbakwe's administration. And we agreed a few minutes ago that Mbakwe has been the best governor Imo State had.
Yes.
That was shortly after colonialism. Why can't other governors build on those foundations that he started? Why? You mentioned U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry came and eve to the election to go and meet the opposition. He met Nigerians there, not Americans. Is that not correct?
He met Nigerians who
work for
and
them.
the Nigerian he met,
who are their collaborators?
Although Buhari was not in the record, but from history we have known Nigerian leaders to be CIA agents. At least we have.
I don't want to argue that. I don't want to doubt about that.
He met their workers.
Yeah, so that person he was going to meet.
When you've accepted
Yeah.
to be an agent against your people, who do you blame?
Well, we don't know the reason. We don't know the reason for them to
you mentioned the visit to Downing Street, number 10. That's the Prime Minister's office and residence, and Chatham House. Who invited them? They invited themselves.
You think so?
They invited themselves. now we focus so much on Nigeria. We
Use-
focus so
use-
much on
use
Nigeria. We
post-colonialism,
focus so much on Nigeria on this discussion.
Yeah.
Recently, Cameroon had an election. 92-year-old Paul Biya has been re-elected. Who do we blame? There, 92-year-old man. He's a Senate leader, Chief Judge. All of them, all they are practicing. Somebody said they are practicing the gerontocracy government of the old. In Tanzania, the woman they elected, she was the vice president. The president that she took over, I think, was 2 or 3 years ago. She took over, Samia Hassan. Shortly before the election, everything was shut down in Tanzania. Internet, nothing. No people cannot communicate. People and this afternoon I just read that she has won the election 97.8% majority.
Similar thing that Paul Biya had.
Good. So who do we blame? Who do we blame in all of this? The colonial masters want that influence. They want to continue to exert that influence, no doubt. Why do you want to enable them? Our people are enabling them, are encouraging them, fertilizing the trees they planted years back.
Do you think
watering them.
Do you think that the youth can do anything?
Yes, they can. Even when the youth cannot do, the youth with the support of the elites, if the elites are not working against their people, these things are very easy.
The youth we are talking about today, I like to give us
It's not only a
context.
problem for the youth,
Yeah.
because when the youth go out, they meet them, match them force with force.
Yeah.
The elites are the ones who sold or who are selling us out and continue to sell us out because of peanuts.
apart from matching them with military power and all that. You made mention of David Hudein, and we made mention of foreign aid as a means of influence across these countries. Remember, when you talk about the youth, what these Western countries do is to use aid to influence the youth. If you remember, recently when President Trump came in, what he did with Elon Musk about US aid, because of what they are using, at least that opened up a lot of details about how these funds are being used. So if you go to most of these countries as well, these guys, they would come and put borehole. They are the ones that do borehole. They will always, I will give you another context. The Nigerian population census, the only Nigerian population census that most of us know of, that has happened over how many years? That Nigerian population census was funded by the EU.
We have run out of time. Let me leave you with one question, and you with one question. How much will EU pay you for you to sabotage your family, and you accept? Same question to you.
No, I will never sabotage my family.
Okay. How much can I pay you now to sabotage your family, your wife and your
My
children?
family is me. I can't sabotage myself. No matter how much you pay.
Those people where we've talked about Paul Biya, do you think he's sabotaging his family? He's seeing himself and his family, his wife and children. Those are his family.
That's selfishness. Family is the smallest unit.
Yeah.
As a president, the whole country is your family.
Yes,
You can't
and
argue with that.
entirely agree.
At least
He's not
once you
supposed to
agree
work.
with
He's not supposed to work against the interest
of his country.
of his countrymen.
So if you do that, go ahead and have yourself to
I
blame.
hope you are not contradicting yourself here, because
No
when the
way.
Western powers are saying that if you work against because you cannot work in the interest of the Western powers and work in the interest of your family. It must go
They
that
have to
way.
choose one.
And the leaders that have chosen to in the interest of their family, their country.
Exactly.
You know what happened to them?
Not because we have not stood up.
Well, I don't know if those leaders were sitting or they were lying down.
They sat up.
Interesting to know. We would continue this episode and we would want to get your insight. This is a very broad episode and we would break it bit by bit. We are just doing an introduction to the analysis of post-colonialism and post-colonial tendencies within the political, economic, cultural, and the social realm. And we would encourage you, if you want to come and share your idea about post-colonialism, because we have professors, scholars who are listening to our conversation. We would encourage you as well to come and share your idea, because it's a very, very, very deep topic And we would want to encourage every one of us to participate. Even if you cannot come to our studio, send us your comment in the comment section and we'll pick it up. Give us your analysis and we'll digest your analysis for the benefit of our viewers, our subscribers, our followers. Remember, we don't influence policies. We don't play politics. We bring out the facts. We provide context to discourses. And we want to encourage you to continue to follow us, continue to subscribe to our page, continue to spread this good news to all the people you know. Let them be part of what we are doing on Glasscast podcast, and you'll be glad you did. On this note, I want to say a very big thank you to the elder himself, Dr. Liam, and Mazi himself, barrister, the double barrister in the house. I want to say Barrister Joko, and from myself and the entire crew, I want to say,
Barrister,
it's been nice to have you. Have a good evening.
Thank you so much, Dr.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.